Before her mother passed from illness, the girl who would one day be called Cinderella was an amazing child. Kind-hearted, patient, thoughtful, and mild-tempered, she was a blessing to all who knew her. Though her parents were wealthy and hardworking, they never neglected their only child. She loved and was loved in return, but all the love in the world could not stop sickness from claiming the mother. As she felt her end draw near, she called her daughter to her bedside. Voice weak from fever but strong with conviction, she said, "I have suffered for years, felt every strain. No stranger to tears, no stranger to pain. Yet never have I inflicted woes, got into conflict, or came to blows. It was unfair for me to suffer abuse, but my despair was never an excuse. So stay good and true, no matter the storm. Do not burn others to keep yourself warm." And with that last piece of wisdom, the mother closed her eyes and died with a smile on her face. The little girl mourned the loss of her mother, crying every day at her grave. The father used to join his daughter on these daily visits, but his tolerance for this somber routine wavered over time. He decreased his visits to every other day, then once a week, then once a month, then not at all. His avoidance of his late wife's resting place gave room in his heart for a new love, and soon the little girl had a stepmother and 2 stepsisters. All 3 of her new family members were beautiful, but their hearts were cold and cruel. They saw the little girl for the kind soul that she was, and it left an awful taste in their mouths. They hated people who, unlike them, were not tainted by the bitterness of the world. So the stepsisters refused to treat the little girl like a proper sibling. They stripped her of her pretty clothes, forced her into gray rags, and had her wear wooden shoes that gave her feet splinters. They made her work in the kitchen all day, giving her very little time to rest. When night fell, they refused to let her retire in her room, knocking her down onto the ashy hearth whenever she tried to rise. After another failed attempt to return to her room, the little girl asked her stepsisters why they were so terrible to her. They replied, "Father 1 pinched our ears, Father 2 lied. Father 3 drove us to tears, Father 4 died. Your dad is too weak to fill us with unease. Now we speak our minds, now we do as we please. So give us your dresses, do all our chores, clean up our messes, sleep on dirty floors. We deserve to be on top after what we went through. So stop your dramatics, we have no mercy for you." With no other choice, the little girl submitted to their demands. The kitchen became her new bedroom. Rarely could she leave the area unless she had chores to do somewhere else in the house. Isolated and lonely, she befriended animals for comfort. As days turned into years, the torment from her stepsisters never stopped. It only worsened after her father died of the same illness that took her mother. Ash from the hearth always clung to her skin and hair, making her dry and itchy. Irritable from the constant discomfort, she sometimes yelled at her animal friends unprovoked, or petted them hard enough to hurt. Still, she tried to remember her mother's last words. She tried to be good. When the girl reached adulthood, the king declared that there would be a ball. All the beautiful women of the kingdom were invited, so his son could choose a bride for himself. The stepsisters made the girl brush their hair and prepare their clothes for the ball. The girl did as she was told with a heavy heart. She wanted to go to the ball too. She asked the stepmother if she could attend alongside her stepsisters, but the stepmother kept coming up with excuses for why she could not go. What clothes would the poor girl wear? They were all dirty. What about her ashy skin and hair? No prince would want his future wife to be such an eyesore. The girl wept. She told her stepmother that she would have clean hair, skin, and clothes if she were cared for like a proper daughter. She asked why she had been mistreated for years. The stepmother replied, "You are not one of mine, so why should I care? And you had no time to learn true despair. I have slept in the gutter, I have slept in the rain. You whine and you mutter, but do you know pain? I have lost sons in war and sons at sea. Do you think you deserve more than me? I am owed grace after what I went through, so know your place, I have no mercy for you." With that, the stepmother and stepsisters left for the ball, leaving the girl alone. With nothing to think about but her loneliness and years of torment, her anger grew. The anger started in the pit of her stomach, then spread throughout her fingers, toes, and brain. When she could no longer contain it, she flung open the windows of her kitchen and screamed. Her animal friends, hearing her screams and wanting to help, surrounded her with haste. Once they were in the kitchen, Cinderella attacked. Though many animals escaped, not all of them were able to evade her swinging fists, flailing legs, and gnashing teeth. Once she felled enough of the poor creatures, she collected their feathers, furs, leather, and bones. As she fashioned the collection into a dress, she told herself, "I have suffered for years, felt every strain, no stranger to tears, no stranger to pain. I've had enough of doing what I am told, tired of sleeping rough, tired of the cold. No price is too high to stop the grief, no life too sacred to exchange for relief. I yearn for a prince to help weather the storm, so I burn what I must to keep myself warm." Everyone stared at Cinderella when she entered the ball. The odd patchwork of feathers, fur, leather, and bones covering her body was unlike anything the attendees had ever seen. The gown disquieted everyone, and the subtle hatred in her eyes made them keep their distance. But both the gown and its wearer were beautiful, so most believed she was a foreign princess. Her strange clothes and intense stare were not enough to deter the prince, who was immediately smitten. He stayed by her side and refused to have another dance partner. However, during their first dance, an injured bird landed on the prince's shoulder. It cried, "Like the girl, I used to be pretty. Then she stole feathers from me. If you want to be free of strife, do not take her as your wife." The prince shooed the injured bird away from his shoulder. It cried pitifully as it hobbled off. The couple pretended that the strange interruption never happened. However, during their second dance, a bald rabbit rested itself against the prince's leg. It cried, "Like the girl, I used to be fair. Then she tore out all my hair. If you want to be free of strife, do not take her as your wife." Cinderella was horrified. How many animals would tell the prince what she had done? As he shooed the bald rabbit from his leg, Cinderella ran away from the ball. She hoped that if she left, no one else would tell the prince her secret. However, she lost one of her slippers on a stairway while running off. The prince found the slipper in his search for her. As he reached down, he realized that the shoe was made up of tiny bones sewn together with wire. Then, much to his surprise, the bones spoke. "Like the girl, I used to live. This betrayal I cannot forgive. If you want to be free of strife, do not take her as your wife." The prince felt uneasy. Was his dance partner truly so bad? He did not want to believe it, for he could think of no one else beautiful enough to be his princess. Ignoring his growing worry, he decided to find her. The next day, the prince and his servants went house to house looking for his missing dance partner. When they reached Cinderella's house, the stepmother convinced the prince that the slipper belonged to one of the stepdaughters. She called her eldest into the room to meet the prince. When the prince tried to put the shoe on the eldest stepdaughter, the bones spoke. "Fair and cruel is she, but this one did not kill me. Better people walk the earth, but who you want sleeps near a hearth." Scared by the talking shoe, the eldest stepsister ran away from the room and out the house. The stepmother told the prince that she had made a mistake. Her second daughter, not the eldest, had been his dance partner. She called her into the room to meet the prince. When the prince tried to put the shoe on the youngest stepsister, the bones spoke. "Fair and cruel is she, but this one did not kill me. If you truly want no other, in the kitchen you will find her." The youngest stepsister, startled by the talking shoe, ran from the room and out the house. The stepmother tried to prevent the prince from entering the kitchen, but his servants blocked her path. As he walked, the prince asked the slipper for the name of his dance partner. The bones spoke. Cinderella was not her name until she brought herself shame. They called her every insult they could, but none were true when she was good. Now her soul is dark and her heart is cold. Nowhere in her will you find gold. Cinderella had spent all night and day trying to burn the dress made of her friends, but the macabre gown cried out whenever it got too close to the flames. She was still trying to burn it when the prince entered the kitchen with the slipper. His presence startled her greatly, and she dropped the dress in shock. Covered in rags and face smeared with ash, his former dance partner was unrecognizable to the prince. As the pair stared at each other, the bones of the slipper spoke. "Fair and cruel is she, this is the one who killed me. Though your partner you did find, it's not too late to change your mind." The prince asked Cinderella to explain herself. The girl told him the sad tale of a dead mother, neglectful and dead father, uncaring stepmother, and cruel stepsisters. She explained that she only attacked her animal friends out of desperation. She needed the prince's approval so she could have a better life. Once Cinderella finished speaking, the prince replied, "Your stepmother and sisters shall be thrown in a cell, and forced to atone for putting you through hell. I will help you move somewhere far away, or make it more comfortable here if you wish to stay. Though I know now what you had to endure, I disavow your actions. You did not remain pure. Grow past your mistakes, may you have a good life, but I will never take you as my wife." The prince left the kitchen, bone slipper in hand. Cinderella tried to run after the prince, but the servants blocked her path. Mad with grief and horror, she let out an animalistic cry. "Do not leave me alone! My life is cold like stone! I want an end to the storm! I only wish to be warm! I only wish to be warm!" Cinderella from the original fairy tale is not a bad role model. It would have been so easy for her to just be this awful, bitter, vindictive person after everything she's been through. But she's not. She's kind. She's still good despite everything. And I feel like there's a good chunk of people who don't acknowledge how amazing it is for her to stay good despite everything she went through. So I was kind of inspired to make this story based off of the idea of what if she just let herself go bad? What if she let herself become a dark person because of the abuse that she went through? If you want early access to my stories, follow me on Substack. Thank you, and this is a special episode of I bought cards from the shop today. Should I keep them all or throw them away? There are 2 reasons why today is a special episode. This is the first time I'm live streaming the show to all of you at home. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you're on the toilet, clean your phone when you're done.